So this is vital if you're trying to make that next step in your business, that we pay attention. So without harping on too much about what Sam said, please turn your cell phones also, we're not a distraction to each other, and we can all take in what Dr. Manning has to give us. Welcome.
Thanks. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. First of all, my apologies for being slightly late. I was doing my best to get here right on time. But I see I still missed it by 10 minutes or so my apologies. Thanks for coming. I have no idea who I'm speaking to. I was told it's a group of young entrepreneurs, but that can mean a lot of things. So in order to help me pitch, I was just wondering perhaps if we could do a very quick, brief, no more than 30-second introduction where you could tell me something about what you're doing, whether you're working for yourself or employed, and if you're working for yourself, what business you're in, how long you've been going. That would really help me to know who I'm talking to. I've just been introduced, and I think it took longer than 30 seconds, so you know about me, but I don't know about you, and I think it's only fair that we do that. So why don't we start here? You can sit if you want.
I'm Kwame Associate, that's the name. I work with a company called DSC Infrastructure. It's a group that is into infrastructure development. I am the business development for West Africa. Yeah, so what brought us here is a Accra Kumasi organization. That's really the stretch here. That's what brought us here. We calling it the Accra Kumasi Development Corridor. Also within a couple of things aside the road itself. Yeah, then make our revenue obviously from the tolls. Yeah, it's a PPP. It's a 30-year concession, but the government debate is not well pronounced, and so we're in concession. I'm trying to seek parliamentary approval to get the project running here. So basically, and I run a small company called Electrics and More, which is managing to electrical safety.
Okay. Thanks. The PPP for the Accra Kumasi corridor is something that I warmly welcome.
Oh, okay.
And I hope it goes through.
We hope so.
So, I mean, if we have any sense, we should be passing something like this. No, but this is the way roads are developed in Europe. You go to Italy, most roads are PPP, build of free transfer after 20 years, and you get a lot of development happening. So it's really a warm thing to do.
Thank you very much. I am Alaska Tairu Manaf, a veteran rate accounting student of Ghana University, the president of Manifold Investment Management. Manifold Investment Management was started immediately after secondary school, where the group of students wanted to avoid the unemployed graduate association. So they came together to find ways of pulling savings together to invest in businesses as well as create investment or employment opportunities for themselves. Just 3 years now, and we have been making mistakes and learning. So we are here to learn about strategies of building a world-class business. And we know we are the right place.
Thank you. All right, let's continue. Very brief, 30 seconds. Madam, you don't need to start.
Okay. I'm Stella Awad, and I own an export company. And we focused on exports in 2006. And we've been exporting commodities such as shea butter, black soap, cashew nuts, a lot of agro products from within Ghana and outside, West African region, to customers all over the world. And we use the internet to get our customers to contact us.
Okay. So they order online. Do they pay online as well? And they pay by Visa?
They can't pay online.
Okay.
Yeah, we normally do it through the banking.
Why can't they pay online?
We try to do that. I approached Ecobank to help me to do that, but they were not able to do the e-payment. So we've been doing it through wire transfer. that when they want samples, then but they wear small amounts. But when they actually place the orders, it's done through the banks, interbank transfers.
Briefly, I'm Albert Usu. I work with a company called Aztec Food Processing.
Oh, okay.
Sawan. Yes, we are production of mineral water, and we used to produce fruit juices. Refresh was a popular brand, and we're working to get it back on the market. So we are here to boost our capacity with all these
Are you Dr. Usu's son?
Yes.
Okay. He was on the board of Emprotech when I was there, so I do know your dad. Oh, it's good.
This is my sister.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And I attended Templetech
Oh, really?
years ago.
Then you don't need to be here.
Well, my name is Darlington Asari. I work for Mr. Sam Yebo. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. As
His personal assistant.
okay. All right. Sir.
My name is Isaac Tete. I work with Real IT Solutions Limited. We develop educational software for kids from primary to GHS.
My name is Osborne Edupatin. I'm a co-founder of PaySale Limited with Precious here. So what we do is that we have an easy-to-use payroll application on the cloud that is helping small businesses to figure out everything related to running payroll and paying out their employees.
Okay. So how many businesses do you have? How many payrolls are you running?
60 today.
60?
Yes.
Wow. That's
10,000
impressive.
tomorrow.
You must be one of our competitors because we also, KPMG, we also do payroll.
Adela mentioned fresh graduate from the University of Ghana, and I'm here to learn some ideas about how to start up a business. You give us an idea to us as our final year of regents. We're trying to see if we can develop a sincere business. So we're here to learn some tips.
I'm also a business engineer, also a graduate from the University of Ghana, and we are here to learn ahead of time.
It's good. Madam.
I'm Kapuya Boa. I work with Mayan Book Center.
With?
Mayan Book Center.
Okay.
They are the reps for Oxford University Press in Ghana. So I work with the marketing department. So I'm here to learn how to build a business the right way. That I give new strategies and ideas.
And what do you do for Mayan?
I'm the merchandising manager.
I was there for maybe as a teaching assistant at the University of Ghana, where I graduated. And I created a platform for universities to give a voice to women and STEM, science, technology, and because women, I realized a lot of Ghanaian women are underrepresented in the STEM field. So I'm trying to use this platform to inspire the younger ones.
So this is aside from your teaching assistants, your own parents.
Okay, so my name is Paul Piper. I started a design company. We design and make our own bags here in Ghana. And so that's what we've been developing for some time now. And this year has been interesting for us because we received lots of attention about our working there. We're looking to capitalize on it and use the window opportunity that we have to get bigger.
These are bags.
Yeah, bags.
Which type? Make these bags?
So actually, we make more utilitarian bags, as in we make laptop bags, we make book bags, so we make carry cases, we make backpacks, we make sleeves, laptop sleeves. So there's a range of bags that we're starting with. Actually, we're a product design company. There are a couple of things that we want to do, but we want to start with bags and then establish ourselves from that. And then we want to
Have you sold any?
Oh, yes. Well, this is a sample of, but yes, we sold quite a number.
My name is Chachi Choli. I work for the marketplace and we basically sell for startups like Afrobeat and the rest. So we just get their products in the market and try and sell it through all the mediums available.
Right. So different products you are the marketplace for them.
Yeah.
Okay. So you sell online?
We sell online.
You accept payments online?
Yeah. The mediums we actually leverage on a lot of online platforms, so we don't create our own. So we just leverage on theirs and put the product of our clients on those platforms and manage it from there. And also we also sell directly. We're trying to raise a team of sellers or food soldiers, we want to call them, this kind of political parties that we sell our clients products here across the South region.
So when you put your clients' products onto others, how do you get your money?
Basically, it's a commission. It's part of the price we put on the platform. We have put our commissions before. Yeah.
My name is Kwame Ayen. I currently run an investment consultancy business that I'm looking to grow into a full-scale asset management business by the end of the year. And I also have, I'm a partner in a healthcare business that's due to start next year.
Healthcare, as in
So
hospital?
it's a clinic in the airport area.
My name is Delamo Sunu, and last year I started the biggest quarry in Ghana.
Biggest quarry?
Yeah.
Stone quarry.
Stone quarry. And the objective is really to go upscale and go into large-scale infrastructure development, roads and pipelines into that region. I'm a banker by training.
Where is the quarry?
That mine is 40 kilometers from Takwa.
So how do you manage it for you?
I basically live there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My name is Jen. I work with Cedric.
You package you?
Yes.
My name is Nina, I'm not
Mansa
Mansa
AC Ocean. And we'll be working with that connection as well.
You will be working with
Yes, I have making the move.
Okay.
Johnson Ubudani. I work with Zebra. I head the HR.
So Zebra sounds like bigger than I thought.
Angela Dickey. I have a company called Tizans. We have a team of artisans and do projects and stuff like that for clients. So if you have a project, you can do maintenance as well.
Very good. Thank you. This is good to know. So we have quite a broad church from students. Oh, I missed you. Can you imagine? How could I? Let me start with the lady. That's unforgivable.
Okay. My name is Vaida, and I work with Isaac, the same company, Zero IT Solutions. We create educational softwares. We pick the Ghanaian curriculum and create interactive lessons and exercises, experimental pieces, in a very fun and so that if a child has a computer at home, they can just go through it and do their academic.
So there's a guy in the US who started something similar for his nephew, right? And now has made a big name for himself. Are you similar, what you do? Are you aware of the US one? He was an investment banker and his nephew wanted some help. Right, and he didn't have, so he put it online for his nephew to learn. And now he has like 3 million people.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
My name is Jufra Brown, and I wholesale and retail luxury mattresses and pillows.
Any relation to Fitzroy?
Yes. It's better to have.
Ah, okay.
My name is Namasan.
I just completed from Lagos with a degree in biochemistry. I'm the founder of a newly registered business called Agrocare Nutraceutical. The primary aim of the business is to process Ghanaian yam tubers into breakfast meal. Breakfast meal.
Breakfast.
Yeah.
That's new. So yam for breakfast.
Yam fries.
My name is Lee Tete Sanchikwe. I work for E4 Developer IT. We have a great platform called Ghana Home Markets. It's an online marketplace for homes. So it's a place for homeowners to find prospective buyers or renters.
Thank you. I think I've covered everybody, right? Good. So I was going to say that it's quite a broad group. We have people in university to people who work for companies doing PPPs to people running their own businesses and those who are about to venture. So that's quite useful to know by way of pitching. Okay, let's get started then. This was the topic I was asked to speak on. Strategies for building a world-class business. I'm sure you have reasons for choosing that one. I'm trying to move this, and why is it not moving? Okay. And I thought it would be useful, first of all, to look at what is a world-class business. So we have a common understanding of the term, and then look at how we build one. And particularly in the Ghanaian context, what are some of the challenges we might face in doing that? Yeah, and then open up for questions later. I will own up and say this is not original. The stuff I'm going to present today is stuff that you will find if you did a search on the net or read books or both. So it's not on my own stuff. But I think what I'll try and do is add some examples from my own background and experience on some of these issues to kind of bring them to life. Yeah. So, world-class business. Maybe if I were to ask you, apart from Genevieve, who's probably seen the slides, what would you say is a world-class business? What is world-class? You could also give some examples if it will help you answer the question. Yes.
I would say a world-class business is a business that can meet standards in terms of high level.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay.
I'll take that.
So high standards, meets standards, international standards. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah, I think a business that has found a scalable business model.
Okay, so it can go big.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I would say that it's a business which has what it takes to compete in each industry.
Okay, so they are competitive. Yeah. So standards, scalable, they are competitive. Anything else? Yes.
I think has well put together internal structures and controls.
Okay, so the best practices of management within, yeah?
It's profitable.
It's profitable. Now that's very interesting. How many people agree with that one? How many people don't agree? It should be profitable. Okay. Okay. Because one of the examples I give on this is, you know, I'm sure you've all heard of Amazon, right? Yeah. Jeff Bezos. You've heard of Amazon. Amazon doesn't make money. It hasn't made any money since it started, profits. The turnover is in billions, but there's no profits. So it's very interesting, you know, and yet it's a world-class business by any standard. So that's an interesting one. Okay. So, yeah, I think you've said it. This is what I picked up from the dictionary, okay? This is just a dictionary definition. Business dictionary. It says goods, services, and processes ranked by customers. This is interesting because we all think we're the best, right? I mean, you know, Yeah? There's one called Dear Phone, I also work for the super. We all think we're the best. But this one says ranked by customers and industry experts. Very interesting definition. To be among the best of the best. Yeah? And then you talked about standards, that it meets standards. So it denotes standards setting excellence in terms of design, performance, quality, customer satisfaction, and value when compared with similar items. Yeah? So basically you can take anything in this class and it will stand up. You can use any standards, it will meet it for the particular category that is in. Yeah? And another one I picked up says it's technologically up to date. So it's not obsolete. It's there, it keeps up with what's happening. So if we want to build a world-class business, this is what we're aiming for. We're aiming for all the things you said here today. And it's not easy because you're competing with the best in the world, the best in its class. Yeah? Very tough ask. Breaking it down a bit, you talked about competitiveness. So superior competitiveness in any chosen market. So you have to be competitive. However you measure being competitive, whether it's in terms of price, in terms of quality, or whatever, you have to be up there. Not necessarily a global company, yeah, but because even a small company can have a global impact. Yeah, so you don't have to have offices everywhere to be a world-class business to meet the criteria that we've talked about. Okay, there are niche companies around the world that are world-class, that still meet the standards we're talking about, but they are not necessarily everywhere. But you're expected to offer best quality products, good customer satisfaction, and somebody talks about internally best practices of management. Some examples are given. Yeah? And it should be a company that doesn't depend on the founder. In other words, once the founder dies, that's it. It should be able to outlive. Yeah? So longevity is one of the things you will be looking to see. Yeah? And not something that's here today and gone tomorrow. We'll look at a few examples in a moment. So the key phrases which you mentioned, best of the best, standards, meets them, excellence, longevity, technologically up to date. These are all things that characterize world-class businesses. And if we aspire to be a world-class business, those are the things we should use. Let me use my own company as an example to maybe plug. Yeah? KPMG is one of the top 4 in its class in the world. Yeah, and when you rank accounting, audit, professional services firms, KPMG is there. You know, it sees itself as one of the big global players, and that's where it aspires to be. That's where it works to be. You will be amazed by some of the standards and things we go through. You know, I mean, just to give you an example. If we start auditing a bank or a company in which you have shares, you have to sell your shares, even if you're not involved in the audit. Yourself, your spouse, your children, you can't own shares. Because we think you might be, your independence may be impaired. Even if you're not involved with that audit, okay, it's incredible the standards that the company sets itself and tries to meet, okay, including excellence and so on. Longevity has been there for years, it's going to be there for years after we've gone. Technologically, the software we use, the computers we use, every 3 years, everybody gets a new laptop, you know, and so on and so forth. To get into our system, the controls you go through. Yeah, so these are things you can see when you move into some of these companies to see what they do. I picked a few examples which you would recognize, which in my view meet these criteria. I'm sure there are many others, but here are some of them. I have visited some of these companies, for example, Honda, and you'll be amazed when you go into them, and how they strive continuous improvement and the things they do and put into their companies to make sure they stay on top, from a quality point of view, from a customer satisfaction point of view, and so on and so forth. If any of you have ever been to Disney World or Euro Disney, who has been there? Anybody been to Euro Disney? Which one? Euro Disney or?
Euro Disney.
Okay. I mean, what was your experience? Amazing. Kids go there, they spend the whole day, they don't want to leave, and they would like to go back over and over again. Because the customer satisfaction and delight and quality that they put is just incredible. Yeah. So these are some examples. Yeah. So how do we build a world-class business? That was the question I was giving. What are the strategies to develop a world-class business? I don't think there's any single one. You can't say you do that and you get it. It varies from industry to industry, and there are several. But I want to share a few that can be observed with you. Yeah? And I made a point that you can be very profitable as a business. It doesn't mean you're world class. In Ghana, the Casaprecos of this world and so on are quite profitable in what they do. I'm not sure you can necessarily describe them as world class. Some of them may not even go outside the country. Okay, yeah.
Casaprecos manufacturing facility is world class.
Okay.
Absolutely, and they export into Nigeria.
Right.
And are the largest. You can't import ethanol for alcohol into West Africa if it's not part of the transaction. So his reputation is impeccable.
Okay, I wouldn't argue with that, but I think if you go back to some of the things we said when we started about world class, you need to take most of them off. So maybe in terms of the standards, I would agree with you. Whether on the others they meet all of them, we might question. But I'll take your word that maybe that wasn't a good example. But I was just trying to make the point that you can have a profitable business, but it doesn't necessarily mean they are world class. Similarly, you can have a world class business, and it doesn't necessarily mean they are profitable. And I gave the example of Amazon, which is, in my view, world class, but hasn't made any money since it started. It's never reported a profit. The latest figures are still at a loss, and yet everybody knows about Amazon. You can go there, you can trust them, you order something, it comes the next day, and if you don't like it, you can take it back and they give you your money, no fuss. It's truly remarkable. And yet they're still not making money. So it's just to try and make the distinction. So what are some of the things? Leadership is clearly, yeah.
I just wanted to know, Amazon, do they have making money in your business plan?
You mean is it an objective?
Like us in the US.
Oh, it is a for-profit company. Yes. And they have lots of investors and shareholders who have exercised a lot of patience to wait for their company to. So yes, it's definitely a goal. Yes. It's just that they're investing in many things. The latest thing they're investing in, among others, is drones that will deliver their products. So you order something, they send a small plane, and it will just fly to your place using coordinates, drop the parcel in front of your door and go back. Like drones. They're investing in things like that. It's very expensive. They're waiting for licenses to deploy it. But they've already experimented with it. Yeah. So, yeah, profits is certainly a goal. But leadership is vital to all the world-class businesses you see. And I guess it goes even for countries as well. You know, the performance of a business is really as good as its leadership, which is why big companies pay a lot of money for their CEOs. I mean, the remuneration package of some of these guys is incredible. It's incredible. Literally several millions with their bonuses and so on a year. Because they know the worth of that person, that leader, what they bring to the company. If somebody is helping you to make $1 billion, you take a company like KPMG, you're looking at a turnover of 25 billion US dollars. Somebody is looking after that. Is it too much to pay him 10 million or 20? It's nothing. You know, I mean, it makes sense to keep that person there if you find the right guy. Yeah, people and talent management. Yeah, it's people. I mean, if you're going to run a world-class business, it's your people. Okay, if you look at the top companies, I look at my industry, you know, like McKinsey or Bain. These are some of the top consulting firms. It's the best brains you can get who work there. They've been to the top universities in the world. They've got the best degrees. Their backgrounds are impeccable. Those are the people they employ. Yeah? Even when they're looking for fresh graduates, there's something called Milk Round. They go around the best universities. They pick them and go only to those and interview only from those and pick the people from there. That's the new blood who goes through the system. I once heard Unilever in Ghana, which would be described as world class. But I once heard Unilever, in fact it was one of the directors who told me this, that they tried 1 year to pick their fresh management recruits from Ghana. This is going back when I was in Equity. And they interviewed and took, I think the number was around 30 people, all of whom had first-class degrees from Ghanaian universities. All of them had first class, not upper. Forget second below. Okay? Now guess how many they took at the end of their management training program after 6 months? Zero. Zero. None of them made their standards. None of them made their standards. First class.
It's interesting because I went for a management training program for Smart Chartered Bank. I don't have a first class degree, right? So it may be that a first class may not necessarily be a management, may not have that potential, right? They probably just perform. So it's really about having, yes, high standards, but then it should not just be on the academics only, I think.
Yeah. It's possible that maybe they had taken upper second, they would have gone through. But they thought they were picking the best brains they could. That was the logic, you know. But the point I'm making is the people make a big difference, and for these companies, they really try and get the best. And they nurture them, they train them. Yeah, the amount of the number of training programs you have to go through, it's just amazing, and it doesn't stop. Yeah, mentorship as well. Assign a mentor, somebody to coach you, help you along, and continuous training. In KPMG, you can't get promoted if you have not attended certain training programs. It's impossible. Doesn't matter how good you are. You have to tick that box. You know, as I sit here, I'm supposed to complete a training that takes 3.5 hours online, and I haven't done it. I haven't finished because I can't find 3.5 hours to do it. And I've received like 3 reminders in the last week or 10 days. My friend, you have to do that program. Okay, continuous, and it's You can't get away with it. They know whether you've done it or not. Sorry, you wanted to.
Yes, so we are streaming this online and someone is asking, do you necessarily need to have an international presence to work at?
It's a very good question. I would say not necessarily, because that would rule out many small firms. You know, they're niche small firms. If you take Formula One, okay, it's world-class stuff, but they're not everywhere. Okay, so my answer is not necessarily. Yeah, the niche firms that do, you know, Ferrari is not in Ghana, is it? I know Porsche has come, but Ferrari is not in Ghana. Apart from South Africa, you probably won't find them in any African country, I don't think. You know, but Ferrari is practically world-class. You know, if you've seen their design studios, and I lived in Italy for 6 years, and Ferrari had plants near Chile where I was. If you see them, you know, but they're not everywhere. So the answer is no, you don't. Innovation, though. Yeah, you need to invest in R&D. If you look at any world-class company, they are not stopping at what they're doing. They don't, yes.
R&D.
Research and development. Okay, to give you the know-how, to give you those new products. Yeah, and they're forever aiming for. You know, you look at even big. Companies like Mercedes. Every 6-7 years, they're coming out with a new model. That's innovation. It's a new product. Even though they have a great name, a great reputation, great standard, but they have to come up with a new model every 6-7 years to survive. And it's the same. Same with computers, same with everything else. Yeah, you can't just rest on your laurels. And then an entrepreneurial attitude, or in big companies, an intrapreneurial attitude, which really refers to the exercise of entrepreneurship in large corporations, that you need to, I've put here, be forward-thinking, value-adding, passionate, and have a global mindset, not in the sense of being everywhere, but in the sense of being able to stand up to the best. If you're going to be world-class, yeah, we're talking about world-class. If you're going to be world-class, then you really need to be able to stand up to the best in the world there. Okay, just a few more to finish. Set long-term goals and plans. You know, vision is really what defines successful companies. If you don't have a vision, then that's it. You perish. It's very simple. So you need to see the long term and really aim for that. Continuous improvement. This is what sets companies like Toyota, Honda apart. They're continuously improving their products and what they do. Continuously. They really seek to excel the customer satisfaction, do more than even what you want. And no wonder their market shares are where it is today, which leads also to customer satisfaction. And one thing in Ghana I find we don't pay enough attention to is this one. We simply don't care, we don't pay enough attention. In many ways, many ways, you know, and it's a big failure. Just now I talked about if you order something and you don't, you know, I bought a PlayStation 4 for my son in April or May. My sister bought it from America, shipped it, okay? We used it for a week. Well, they used it for a week. Then it says to me it's not working anymore, okay? So anyway, last week somebody was going back to America. This is in May, so June, July, August. 3 months later, I sent back the product. They take it to the shop. The guy thinks they dropped the product. Okay. In any case, I didn't buy payment protection, so they say it should go to the manufacturer. Yet the shop, Best Buy, decides to change the product. You know, and they change the product. You think next time if I want to buy something, where would I go?
Best Buy.
Yes.
You know, it's, this thing about customer satisfaction is a bit of a vicious circle, right? We don't get it because we don't ask for it.
No.
It's not something. And when you do ask for it, the rest of the people around you say, I need to know, right?
Cultural stuff.
That's what I think.
That not enough people are asking. I think I agree as a society because of the empowerment that may kind of, so, yeah.
But I think it's more like people do take advantage. I mean, where I work, we sell books and we try to, give good customer service. So normally we wouldn't do returns, but on a few occasions, depending on the situation, we do. So there's this lady who comes to buy storybooks for the son. So she takes it and comes back in about 2 weeks and says that, oh, the son has already got that storybook. So we said, okay, fine, and then we exchanged it and gave her another one. In 2 weeks' time again, she comes back and says, oh no, the son doesn't like this book. So this one rather, so we did exchange it. And then we told her, when you come back again, we are not going to exchange it. Because we realized that the son was reading the books and and there was a library there. So it's more like our culture takes advantage of the whole, customer. So it's a bit tricky when it comes to customer.
There's always the abuse.
I think sometimes some companies also try as much as possible to let you know the rules of the game. But when you go to Domot, before you pick your materials out, they'll tell you that inspect and make sure that everything is okay before you pick them out. When you take it out and you come back to report that they are not going to listen to you.
But supposing I bought a cooking utensil from Domot and it's leaking, they wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know.
And you wouldn't know either until you've tried it. And that's where the customer service comes in. Sometimes the client doesn't even have to demand it. Once I went to McDonald's. You all know what McDonald's is. Hamburger joint, take away. So I buy McDonald's. Now the hamburger will be put around the thin foil. Okay? Which will be put in a plastic takeaway box. The one you get when you buy your wachi or whatever, okay? Put in the takeaway box. Then that is put in a paper bag. Are you with me? Okay. Now McDonald's, every 15 minutes they are cleaning the floor. Somebody is mopping the floor. The floor is very clean. So I buy my hamburger, which is in a foil, which is in the plastic thing, which is in the paper. And as I'm taking it from here, I drop the paper bag. The paper bag, the food is still inside. Okay? Still wrapped. So I pick the bag, and the lady at the counter, who is only a cashier, not a manager, says, oh, excuse me. So she takes it, throws it away, gives me a new one. Wow. Nothing wrong with the food. It's the standards. Yeah.
It's fear of you suing them if you fall sick from the food.
There's no the possibility of me falling sick.
Avoid that. Avoidance of doubt.
But I didn't demand though. I didn't demand anything. Is the service. Okay? 2 months ago I went to Avis car to rent a car, in the UK. Just got off a plane, went to Avis, rented the car. Okay. I went to the car and I saw that it smelled of tobacco. So I go back and said, can we do something about this? Somebody must have been smoking in my car. Oh, I'm sorry, So they take it and they give me the higher range. You pay depending on the class, okay? So I paid for a Golf, but they gave me the bigger car. Same price, go. Customer service. These guys try to exceed your experience. Yeah, don't make a fuss about it. And that's something, yeah.
I think culturally, we've been trained to adapt and not expect more. I mean, like you said, you mentioned, if you ask for the more, you are the one being too much. So basically, you deal with what you are said and then adapt to it. And that is culturally what we are being used to. Because because of the bigger issues in US, that is why McDonald's will put such high standard, because someone buys a coffee, throws it on his leg, and can sue the company.
Multi-million-dollar award.
And you can have a case. So they'll put in all those because someone might do those things. But over here, we adapt. I mean, we don't expect high, so they just meet. So that's what I think.
The reason being, all of us here provide customer service. What is our standard? We're talking about, how people don't give us, but do we? Whatever that we do, we don't set the standards ourselves. I think we should all accept that it's a cultural problem. Ghana, we don't know, we're all learning. But where I find out, they are not, the truth is we are not ourselves. So let's all try and find a way of doing it. We set the bar without anybody telling us, without fear of being, sued or anything. So I think it goes both ways.
Yeah. Let me move on and go because otherwise we won't finish. Okay. So then, we've been talking about Ghana, right? I realize there are challenges within the Ghanaian context, and you've just said that we have some challenges. But I picked about 5 things. There are many more. I didn't even put culture, which is a whole big topic on its own. Okay? But access to information is one of the big problems we face in Ghana, which affect everything. Affect everything we do. A few weeks ago, I needed a loan for something. I was in the UK. It was about 4:30 in the afternoon, which is after banking hours. I went online, I applied for a loan. Okay, and I'm not kidding you. 30 minutes later, around 5:15, when the banks are closed, that money had been deposited in my account. How did they do that? Information. That's all. They have access to information. They have access to my credit rating. And they use that. And the bank was able to exceed my expectation. Because within 30 to 40, and I'm not talking about a small amount. It wasn't like, I'm talking about several $1,000s. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you what it was, the way it was. This is just 2 months ago when I picked up that car that had tobacco. Okay? Because they had access to information. Okay? So these are some of the challenges that you face. I try and borrow money from Ghana, and the wahala they put me through, and you have no idea. No idea. Okay? Finance. Okay, it's another challenge we face. I'm just giving an example. Okay, so how do we get over that? One of the things you can do, there are many grants that you can access. For example, we manage grants. We give up to $1.5 million free money to companies. Okay, I don't know if any of you in this room know about it. Precisely. Okay, but it's a way of getting over financing problems. But there are companies in Ghana that do know and that have access to it. Okay, so grants, partnerships. Today I was talking to somebody, I had lunch with somebody, Ghanaian based in Sierra Leone and partly Nigeria, and they want to start a new business here, bring their business here. And I said to him, so how are you going to do it? One of his friends, well, 2 of his friends are putting in $600,000 from Ghana. Well, one is from Ghana, the other is from Cote d'Ivoire, to set up this, and they are taking equity positions in the business. So partnerships, it happens. And I know they don't always work, but that's not a reason for not trying. Do all marriages work? Are you married? So, I mean, there's no logic. If you say to me, partnerships, they break up. I know they break up. But marriages break up every day. But how many of you still want to get married? It's the same. Yeah, it's no excuse because it breaks up. Private equity, fund management companies, and so on. Yeah, you need to try and build your credit history with the banks. You need to shop around. Technology is a key. Okay, many businesses now rely on technology. Yeah, and in order to really be at the top, you need to invest in R&D. I talked about people, and Ghana. One of the problems I've had as an employer as a manager in this country is getting loyal people. Loyal people who really, you know, are going to be faithful to you as well. Very difficult to get. Very difficult. If somebody increases their salary by 100 cedis, they are gone. Doesn't matter how much you've invested in them. Many of them anyway. They don't even give you the notice when they are going. I've had employees who leave. They get their salary in the bank, the next day they're thrown out of the country. No notice. So after 1 week, you notice this guy is not coming to the company. You call him, the mobile phone, nobody's picking. You send a driver to the house, and the wife or husband will tell you, oh, he's traveling. So it's happened to me when I was at Deputy several times. Okay? But still, you want to get the best people you can afford. You want to invest in training and development. It never ceases to amaze me. How many people spend millions, literally, on a facility, but they don't invest in people to run them? It doesn't cease to amaze me. You know, I don't know if I should mention it. Since your video streaming, live streaming. But last weekend I went somewhere. Okay, if you shout a name, I will say no. Even if they don't even shout it. Okay, but I went somewhere. Very nice place. Very nice place with my kids. It's a resort. Just for 2 nights, and I'm not bragging. I just want you to see the kind of place I'm talking about. For 2 nights, we paid 2,400 cedis. Just for 2 nights. Okay, they've got a 9-hole golf course there, and every, on this place. This is in Ghana. Well, but come on, don't mention the name. I just want you to appreciate the context. That's all I'm saying. Okay, but who are the people there who run it? This guy has spent millions of dollars. Millions of dollars on swimming pools, everything. Not one swimming pool. I said pools. Okay? But who runs it? And I see this all the time in Ghana. Okay? And it's like, I don't know. If you buy a plane, will you call a taxi driver and tell him to fly that plane? You will. It's the same thing. It's the same concept, So you need to invest, yeah. Quality we talked about, and culture, yeah. So these are challenges we face. Of course, many of our businesses are quite small as well. But all these big businesses we talked about Amazon. Jeff Bezos started Amazon in his garage at home. He didn't even have a place. The garage, he started selling books, renting books in his neighborhood from a garage. And it's not that far away, it's only about 12, 15 years ago. And today their turnover is well over $1 billion. So you can start small. All these businesses started quite small, but today they are something. So size is not necessarily a limiting factor in all of this. Yeah. So I'll leave it there. I hope I've given you some food for thought, and I'll be happy to take any questions you may have. Yes.
The challenges to finding and keeping good staff, what are some things that you've learned over the years that we can also learn from?
It's quite tough. Finding them, in my view, several things. One is recommendation. Okay? You can advertise, but I haven't found adverts that effective. You interview people, you interview them, and when you try them, okay, if you're going to advertise, test them. KPMG, we have them sit an aptitude test. it weeds out most of them. We have like 400-500 people sitting the aptitude test. After that, we're down to about 100. Okay, and then we go through the interviews with them. And sometimes I give them practical things that we ourselves have to do to see whether they can do it. So somebody comes and says, I'm a Microsoft Office professional. You know, I can do Excel, I can do Word, I can do PowerPoints and so on. Fine. So I give you some figures and I ask you to rearrange them in an Excel sheet and we see whether you can find it. We read out a lot of them as well. You know, take references. In Ghana, people don't take references. They're criminals working for companies and nobody checks. Okay, forget about going to the CID to do fingerprinting. That won't reveal anything. Okay, but you know, they say they work for somebody and so on. Get in your car, go there. You know, hi, madam, my name is this. You know, can I talk to you for 5 minutes? You'll be amazed what they'll tell you. Okay, but if you write a letter, nothing. So there are all kinds of things you can do. And once you've got them, of course, train them. You know, I know people say, small businesses say, oh, if we train them, they will leave. Yes, I know, they might leave. But you also get somebody who somebody else has trained. Okay? But if you don't train them, it's like buying a plane and asking a taxi driver to come and fly that plane. He's going to crash it. And that's what.
I would like to know what the structures, who structures do for the company, because my small company, for instance, we have a structural problem. I would like to know how to place the best structures as a small company or startup to become a world class.
Okay, by structures you mean the systems and things in place, yeah. These things grow with the company, the systems and the structures. It would not be advisable for your small company to have the same systems and structures that KPMG has. You know, for example, KPMG, if today you ask me to do something for you as Aztec, I have to submit that request to what we call a conflict check. Okay? So it goes virtually around the world to see if there's any issue with Aztec, whether there's a previous relationship and so on. Then all the staff, all the managers and above, an email also goes to them to say, Aztec is asking us to do this. The directors are Dr. Owusu, this and that. Does anybody have any issue or anything they want to do? That won't work for me. Are you with me? So structures and systems are not universal. It's something that they grow with you and are specific to you. You know, but you definitely need systems as you're growing. Otherwise, they will kill you. They will steal all your money. You won't know what's going on, or you will have a heart attack. Right? But the systems and structures they have to be tailored for you. And this is where you need a consultant or someone to come in and help you. They have to be tailored for you. Yeah,
Two questions. So the first one is that from your submission, does that mean that local entrepreneurs, especially the uneducated, cannot deliver world class? And the second one is, can a world class business be created in a third world or emerging environment?
Let me take the second one first because it's easier. Can a world-class business be established in a third world country or emerging economy? Yes. I think companies like Tata in India are getting there.
Zenith Bank is now top 20 banks in the world. 24 years old. From Nigeria.
Okay. All right. So Tata, I would say, is getting there. They've bought Range Rover, Land Rover Group, they're running them. They even wanted to buy Rolls Royce. But the British couldn't see an Indian owning Rolls Royce. So they kind of put impediments in their way. Okay, so yes, you know, Korean companies now are world class. You know, the Hyundais of this world and so on. the Kia and so on. They are up there. If you buy one of those cars in Europe, they give you 7 years warranty. 7 years. That's how much hope they have in their product. Okay. So the answer is yes. And we've heard about Zenith Bank being mentioned, as well. So yes, it's possible. If a bank from Nigeria and we went class, that answers the question. Can local entrepreneurs be? Eventually, yes. I mean, we've just heard that Casapreco has the manufacturing facility. I have been in Casapreco. In fact, I was there last month, but I haven't stepped into the manufacturing facility. I went to their offices to have meetings there. So we're hearing that they do. I haven't seen it, but if they do, then the answer is yes, it's possible if you work at it and so on. It wouldn't be done in a day, but I think with time, you could.
Those who are uneducated?
Those who are uneducated, well,
uneducated. I mean, I just want to, is the person talking about the formal way of education because you have uneducated, what's the name?
Graduates.
Absolutely.
I would say they are uneducated.
I don't know what it's talking about. Is it that?
So, with no formal education?
No formal education.
in theory, there's no reason why, if they have the wisdom and the sense to get professionals. The thing with businesses is, as you grow, you need professionals. When you're small, the checkbook can be in your pocket. You can manage everything. You can't do it as your business grows. It's not possible. Yeah? So as your business grows, you need professionals to handle your accounting, to handle your finances, your treasury, to take care of recruitment for you, to take care of production, and so on and so forth. So if the person has the foresight and the sense to do that and allow those people to operate, it can be. But if they want to run it themselves, and when they are not there, no decision can be made. When they're not there, no payment can be made. That is not possible. Yes.
My question is related to Genevieve. Which Ghanaian company would you classify as world class? And what kind of island?
We've just heard about Casapreco. So who else would you say? Would you guys say from Ghana?
Because all your examples were foreign.
Yes, indeed, because I wanted to make the point, the foreign ones I can take easy. The Ghanaian ones I can't take easy.
A couple of weeks ago, we had Fidelity. The CEO of Fidelity Bank was here and he spoke to us, and I think they have. Sorry.
It is a world class business.
Yes, and I would call them a world class.
Yes.
Yes. We also have I thought of Blue Skies. They export. Yes, they export outside of Ghana. They seem to have risen from a simple theory and made it a business has expanded greatly in the last few years. So I would think those two companies.
Blue Skies is actually a Ghanaian company.
Isn't it? I thought
It was founded by a couple of British former.
No, it's a partnership between the Ghanaian and the British.
The original founders.
So Ghanaian is part of it.
Original.
Fidelity has certainly done very well to hold its own because it was started from scratch. It started as a discount house.
Yes.
When I was at Empretech, we were providing services for it. EcoBank is not entirely Ghanaian, but I guess they are also up there with the rest. So
why are we not mentioning Anglo Gold and all?
They're not Ghanaian companies. They operate in Ghana, but they're not Ghanaian companies.
I guess when it was Ashanti Gold, it was, but it was bought basically.
Yes.
Taken over. Yes.
So I think it's obviously clear that to be a world-class business, you have to have some money. But aside from money, what do other ingredients will go into making a company world-class? Aside from that.
Right. I think we touched on this when we mentioned leadership, people, innovation, talent management, entrepreneurship. These are all things, continuous improvement, customer service.
What I'm actually saying is, what is the sense? What is the thing? What is the driving force? I know leadership is great, talent is great, but what's the driving force? What makes a people want to be world-class? Aside from the fact that they have money. They have money to spend, innovation, build stuff, learn. But what is the underlying thing that we want to make a people?
What is the motive?
Exactly. What's the motive? What's the drive?
Why should we build world-class?
Exactly. Why? What's the point?
I don't think you have to be. And as I said earlier, world-class and profitability are not even synonymous. Okay? I know people in Ghana, you were asking the question, are there any Ghanaian companies? I know people in Ghana who are far richer than some of the names we've mentioned. Okay? And they don't aspire to be world-class. They're just happy to play their. So the motive, I don't know, what's the motive for wanting to be world-class or to be the best you can?
Personal thing,
I think it may be just personal thing with whoever is running those companies and the board and the shareholders. That may be, but you don't have to be. If your motive is to make a lot of money, you don't have to be a world-class business.
So the business won't outlive you.
Sorry?
So the business won't outlive you then, if that is.
Yeah, and that often happens. I mean, several of the people I know in this country, once they're dead, that's it. They will go. So.
To just add to the motive, I will use somebody like Sam Jonah as an example. Jonah Capital is based in South Africa, to be specific. He, through his talks, made us aware that we have wished that the company was homegrown in Ghana. But one thing is our vindictive nature as Ghanaians. It's so eminent. It's political. It's a killer. The environment, there are certain things that kind of doesn't bring out that entrepreneurial stuff in people. And the people want to do stuff. I know Ghanaians who have companies in the UK, US and stuff, and the companies are doing pretty well. Yeah. They wish they can bring them here. Yeah. I know Ghanaians who might want to buy private jet, but they will not buy it. He won't buy it. He knows he can buy 2 or 3 private jets, but he will not buy it. He knows how we are. So for me, I think the environment, we really have to change. We really have to change. That is my opinion.
The environment won't change, right? So,
well, the people have to change.
If you're looking for what people think of you, you'll not achieve anything in your life, right?
Well, no. The interesting thing is, can you imagine? I have a cousin who was in Essex University in the UK. What he said was that he came up with an idea, that I want to set up a company. And just by saying I wanted to set up a company, one person had it, one other person had it, the mayor had it, whatever, the MP had it. And they just started rushing on it. Just because he has that idea as to what he wants to do. Just because they wanted to give him the platform, they want to help him as far as they can, and you won't find these things here. I'll have to kill your company. It's as easy as that. I will kill your idea or whatever. And one other thing is, I was part of.
We have crab mentality here.
No, I wouldn't say so, but I think most part of us. I don't know whether we respond with it anyway.
I'm talking to her, but let me just say this. I was part of this project called the ECOWAS Vision 2020 project, which is basically carbon efficient for the ECOWAS community. So we went on field trips to most of these African countries. And look, it was so eminent in all the 15 West African countries that we visited. We spoke to young ones, what are you aspiring to be? And you have a small kid from Burkina Faso telling us that I want to set up a tire manufacturing company, but I don't want to set it up in Africa. You know, and in fact, at the end of the day, the only thing that we recommended to the ECOWAS Commission was that I think the shift from ECOWAS of states to the ECOWAS of people should come up with a certain mind change among the ECOWAS citizens. That's all. That was about the recommendation that we made. That's all. Yeah.
Just on the point of being world class and the question you were asking, I think sometimes it boils down to access to markets. And it's sometimes more about even the perception of being world class than rather actually being world class. So I can put an example of, say, a Toyota and a Tata. The perception of Toyota globally, coming from the point that people would see them as being more world class than a Tata, really raises or brings to the fore that idea of being world class. Because if I'm world class, I feel that maybe if I go to Ghana, and if I go to Europe, and if I go to somewhere in the Americas, I still have that market. And even from the point of investments, which is what I do, in some scenarios, you are only allowed certain funding if you are, in terms of bond grading, if you are said to be, say, investment grade, and then you can have access to pension funds and all these types of markets. So I think that's sometimes the idea behind the perception of being world class.
When you talk about the environment, right, you look at Nigeria is a much harsher environment to operate in than Ghana is.
Yeah.
And they've created multiple world-class businesses in the past 25 years because they wanted to.
Can I cut in here? Because of the Nigeria example you gave. Nigeria, I would say, is what it is with regards to the business part. Because, and I wish Ghana, maybe we are not the same thing, something would have changed. One particular party has been in power for God so long. And if you are attached to that party, you can do your own search. We have a company in Nigeria. I'm not saying everybody who has made it there, but most of them. It's one political party that has been in power for God so long. And for the fact that you have your umbilical cord attached to that particular party, and you are well positioned enough, the environment might be harsh, but they will create that platform for you. You understand?
Lagos State, right? Lagos State is the opposition state, ACN, right? The last election was swung when the former governor of Lagos State was giving certain assurances. So it's not just about being politically connected. If you have a good idea, Zenith Bank, for instance, that go back to Dangote and so on and so forth, the environment is harsh. Dangote running a factory is probably burning millions of liters of diesel a year just to power the factory, right? So the fact that in Ghana we have a harsh environment, politically, whatever, if you are determined enough, all these obstacles mean nothing to you. It's for being focused on the task at hand.
I don't want the connection just to be between the two of us, but I would totally disagree with you. I will talk about it later. Having worked with a lot of politicians and having done a couple of things with them directly, Dangote is a very good example. I'm telling you for a fact, based on what I know, but I won't say much.
But without focusing on this Nigerian thing, I have to say Nigerians are an exception when it comes to West Africans. They have a passion for being Nigerians, and they do invest in themselves as Nigerians. They are a lot more risk. They take a lot more risk than we do as Ghanaians, for instance, and they believe in the Nigerian brand more than we do as Ghanaians. We're very quick to disassociate ourselves with Ghana when we make it outside of Ghana somewhere. It's only been a matter of, I'd say, in the last decade, where people are coming back home because suddenly Ghana was attractive. Foreigners were coming here and investing in the country, so people were seeing a reason to come back home. But otherwise, I'm sure if you speak to a lot of immigrants outside of Ghana, most of them haven't been to Ghana in many years, and they have a very myopic view of what Ghana is, and they very quickly shed their Ghanaian attitude. Everything Ghanaian. You can find the Nigerian in the UK who's raised his children in the UK, and the children will understand Yoruba. Ghanaians will not teach them Twi.
Even in Ghana, even those born here, they call it Lafa, you know. Locally apart from us. But you made a point which is interesting. You made a point which is interesting because if you look back over the last 15 years or so, you can trace a lot of success to Ghanaians who came back. I mean, you mentioned Edward Efa from Fidelity. You know, Edward was in London, he was working in the city, he came back, started securities, this Fidelity Discount House, and eventually became a bank, and, you know, Data Bank, which is a household name, all of them, you know, from Ken to Kelly, all of them were abroad. They decided to come back, started very small, struggled a lot, and today, you know, Data Bank, I thought maybe somebody might have even mentioned them in terms of, you know, our discussion and what they've done. You know, they've managed to sell parts of their business and become millionaires, all of them, in the process. I mean, how much more do you want? You know, so it's a very interesting point about the diaspora. But I don't know whether the comparison between Ghana and Nigeria is quite the right one, because there are many differences, including size. You know, in Nigeria is massive, really massive compared to Ghana. Maybe we should be comparing ourselves with countries like Kenya, which are a bit closer to us. You know, when you go to Kenya, you get many world-class businesses as well. You're talking about banking, there's a bank called Equity Bank. It's won more awards than any bank in Africa, including Zenith and so on. Yeah, and it started by a Kenyan guy called James Mwandi. And they have more market share than any other bank. Bigger than Barclays, bigger than Stanchart, bigger than any of them. And it's a whole bank. Now they're in Uganda, they're in South Sudan, and so on. You know, and it's closer to Ghana in terms of size, in terms of, you know, heritage, colonialization, and so forth. Yeah. So it gives some food for thought. One of the things, though, that somebody mentioned, which is very true, certainly for Kenya, is they invest in their country. Yeah. There's a lot of corruption that goes on there, but they invest the money there. Whereas we tend to take it out. I'm sure you've read the papers the last 2 weeks. You know, people accused of taking millions out, hundreds, you know. But they invest in their country, and that makes a big difference as well. People will take the last question or comment, and then we draw the curtain.
The contribution of talent as part of the experiment. You mentioned and you gave an example of the Unilever, but other companies have actually tried this talent management or leadership management for some time. I worked with AP Moller-Maersk, and he had this talent management thing going for about a decade. And basically, some of the new ideas and innovative things were some scenarios they brought to us in the classroom in the discussion, and we just contributed. And the next thing, 3 years down the line, they fine-tuned that and they are implementing that. For a startup, investing in talent is going to be very, very expensive for you. So how do you bridge that thing? Because aside those guys' point of they having the money to do that, I mean, how would a startup get, first of all, the right people on board? How do you position yourself so that you can get the right people without necessarily invest in big money like these big corporations are able to do?
Presumably, when you're starting, you'll be quite small, right? You may be 3-4 people maximum. Am I? Yeah. Okay. So you're looking at very few people to start with. Okay. My advice is get the best people you can from day one. So you need a secretary to sit in the front desk, answer the phones, and maybe make tea and coffee for visitors, and maybe take messages and so on. Get the best person you can. Even if you can afford a graduate, get a university graduate. Get a university graduate to do that for you and project the right image, do the right thing for you. When you're looking for partners to come on board, look for somebody who will complement your skills. Are you with me? So you are great in maybe finance, but you're hopeless with engineering or administration or somebody. Look for somebody who has, choose and pick the right people to start with. And the training, invest in it, but you're starting from a relatively high level to start with. So it's not like you're taking somebody from the street or a taxi driver who hasn't been to school or didn't finish school and training them. That's not what I'm advocating. I'm advocating that you get the right people in the first place. You take my firm, virtually everybody there is a chartered accountant. And they're still training every day, or at least every year they're going through training. But they're all chartered accountants to start with. It doesn't stop there. So that's the point I'm making, that whoever you get, you need to build that training, but try and get the best people you can afford. And when you can afford more, get the best people.
So you're basically saying that your initial capital, a chunk of it, should be invested in getting the right people. A huge chunk of it should be invested in getting the people.
I don't think I'm quite saying you should put all your capital there, but I'm saying even if you have to pick 3 or 4 people, so you start a company. I used to run a company. I got a qualified chartered accountant to take off my accounts. Here you are. Okay, chartered accountant. Have a degree from Legon, business administration, chartered. He looks up. That's the best person I could afford for that role. Okay, the lady who sat in the front desk was doing a degree. She was like level 300 in wherever school she was going to. I got her to do the front row. I didn't go and pick a JSS person who you have to teach them everything, even how to make a cup of tea. You have to teach them from scratch. So I'm saying invest in the right people. And then the guy who was working with me, I was working in the consultancy business, Ghanaian, went to Oxford, has a master's from School of African and Oriental Studies. Okay, I got the best people I could afford. Because they are the ones who are going to make money for you. It's, look at DataBank, the guys who started it, Ken, Kelly, and Yofi, Drad, and all these guys. That's what you do. Pick the best you can and surround yourself with them. And help them to make, that's what I'm saying.
Just on his point.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've started 2 businesses. This is my second one. And not to say that you should not invest with money, but your passion alone is a good investment in the people that you pick. Now, with this one, with Artisans, we picked Artisans on recommendation because we didn't want to get to the field and then they'll call you and say, oh, the person destroyed this. And our other people, what we work on also is customer care, because it's terrible in Ghana. Okay, so we are trying to, but what we keep doing is telling the people that you need to be nice to the people. I think it's more like an indoctrination, and it's only your passion that can do that. If you don't keep telling them, and our artisans in Ghana are almost not educated. It's very difficult to find ones not educated. So you need to keep, and so you get artisans on recommendation, but they don't have customer care. They're just regular Ghanaians who will treat everybody the same. And so you just keep telling them over and over, this is how we do the work. We don't want you to do it this way. Do it this way. Of course, they'll complain, you're like fussy. No, but they understand that when they finish doing the work, they get a certain remuneration. And you are the one going to find the job. And once you're able to get them jobs, they never have to go hungry. So I think sometimes it's not just the money. If you just keep at it and tell them that do this. I work with GSS people in my first business, and really, every day we had to tell them, sweep, read. You need to read. You come back, you test them. Did you read this? They say no. Okay, go back. You're practically
testing them every day. And eventually I could leave my store for them and I come back and everything is okay. And they actually report to me and say, okay, this happened and that happened. But it's not like, it's over time, it's a lot of effort, a lot of work, you get tired. Yeah.
You have to look at it.
Yeah.
What do Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, just to mention 3 companies we use here, what do they all have in common? Apart from being world class. Microsoft, Apple.
Employee culture, never.
Okay, what else? They were all started by 2 people. Okay? All started by 2 people who complemented each other. Okay, so they knew who was the best business guy that could go out and get the business and so on, and who could do the back engineering. Okay, and that's another thing. That, find people who complement each other, who complement you. Fill the gaps you can. And also, training doesn't mean you take them to Legon, you pay 2,000 cities. No. Training is, brother, help somebody to see how okay? Or training is talking to them 5 minutes, 10 minutes every day when you have the time and showing them how the things should be done. And you'll be amazed within 3-6 months. I have had university graduates, national service, excuse me to say, girls, finish university, they can't make a cup of tea. They bring the tea without a saucer. They put it on the table. They bring a glass that they've washed with the water. University graduates. And I tell them, look, the day you get married, you have to ask your husband to come and thank me. The training I'm giving you, because I'm teaching you how to make tea. And now you do the glasses and everything. That's training. After 3 months, they don't do it anymore. They carry the tray, the sugar is on one side. But when they come, I ask them to go and make tea for somebody, they put sugar and milk in the tea. How do you know they can take sugar? How do you know? How do you know how many spoons the guy takes? You don't know. So you talk to them, that's training. After a while, they don't do it anymore.
I think this is a very big thank you to a wonderful talk. I know there are several more questions that we have, on our minds that we may be able to ask when we break away and we're having dinner. But let me use the opportunity to thank you all for coming, especially Dr. Menu, and tell you a bit more about what SEVLET does. For some of you who zoomed in late, you haven't had the opportunity to hear what we do. And I like the conversation as it went on, how do we do this? With a small budget, how do we do this? I think, Dr. Menu and several of us have talked about, finding a partner, who will be able to complement you. The other thing that we do at SEVLET is that we have what we call the management services. We offer management services to companies because we believe that companies should be able to run lean. You start a business and, maybe it's into, some technical stuff. And you really don't, have expertise in finance, in HR, but you do need these services. What SEVLET does, through our management services is you outsource that bit of business, which is not your core business, to us, so that you are still able to manage a very, very lean team. So monies that you would have spent hiring, a certified accounts person, paying that person perhaps, $4,000 a month and all that, hiring an HR person, you consolidate all of this into one, and then you pay us one bulk fee, and then we take care of all of that for you. We are talking about training. What is exciting is that, yes, we see that over 200,000, graduates are coming out of our tertiary universities, tertiary schools, year on year, and we are adding up, every year they are not finding jobs because, one, we talk about, some of the problems that we face in Ghana. So our businesses are not large enough to be able to absorb all of these graduates. The government is only able to, take about 6% every year. So that leaves over 100,000, graduates out there who probably have some qualification but do not have jobs to do. We are taking them through what we call the SEVLET business class to help them acquire skills, that will be able to help them set up their own businesses and even manage them. So please, if you'd like to know more about the Servlet business class or the management services, talk to us. I mean, a few of you have finished school and you are thinking what's next. You have some ideas, you want to be able to really take this idea and then make it into a business. Today, we have one reason why we don't have world-class businesses is also because we have people who come out of medical school and they are doctors, or they go through Ghana Law School and they are lawyers, but they don't have any idea how to build the business around their law expertise or their healthcare expertise. So this is what the management services is doing for most of these businesses, or the business class. And again, we have what we call the Accelerator Program. The Accelerator Program is a 6-month program that people go through. Angela, who talked, was one, she's a graduate from the Accelerator Program. So she's come through, she's found a co-founder here, complementing what she does. Angela is the kind of person who likes to talk, go out, be able to do all the marketing. She has somebody as a co-founder who's helping her do all that, back work, back office work and all that. And together as a team, we are winning some fantastic contracts. I'm happy to say that, congratulate just after graduating from the Accelerator program, they've won a very, very huge contract with one university that's starting pretty soon, I think in September. So we can all help. In Ghana, one of the things that we don't find is businesses that go from pass from one generation to the other. It would have been exciting to have heard that it's not Voltic that still has maybe the largest market when it comes to ISU. When we had Aztec started, Ghanaians have the expertise, they have the capacity to be able to dream and dream big and start world-class businesses. But we fall short. There are so many ways that we have come in, Servlet, with the expertise of several people like Dr. Menu. He headed Empretech for 6 years and all that. I mean, they are excited about what we're doing. That's why week in, week out, we have all these people come and say, look, we've got to own the Ghana that we have. We've got to become passionate and proud about, because this is all we have. This is the only country that we will ever have. And we cannot continue to sing the songs and the tunes of the Americans, and that even now we are singing tunes of Indians and Chinese because they are building it, whereas we are only consuming. Let's come together and then change this country, because we truly can, and that's why Servlet exists. So hopefully we'll see you next week again, and then the following week. We always have exciting speakers. Please feel free to call on anyone who you think would benefit from these series that we're having, because together we really want to change the future for, if not even our own generation, the generation of our kids that are coming. So thank you very much. Servlet is also partnering with a company called Creative Trends in helping with all this SME story, and failed stories. We're kind of expanding what we have here. In here, we're only able to take up to about 25, 30 people every week. We have the African SME Summit coming up between the 28th to the 30th of this month, August. It's going to be at the Best Western Hotel, and we have a space for about 250 people. And we're bringing in exciting, speakers who are all, tasted. They've experienced what world class is, and they are going to be sharing these stories with us, just to be able to help our businesses. Whether you are at the seed stage, startup stage, or you are, early stage, or even matured stage, I believe we're a good representation of, the businesses that we're talking about here. Let us come and then put our heads together, network. It's a platform where we can network, learn lessons, and that we can practically, over the weekend, we can go back to work and then be able to apply it so that, the destiny of our businesses would not be, there used to be a company, some time back, that even beyond us, we would pass on these businesses. It's sad. For me, I think about, why Ghana Stock Exchange, over all these years, still they have only about 38 companies. Now they've started a secondary, market and all that. I mean, the whole idea is that, can we start businesses and build them such that it's not just around we, the founders, building world-class businesses where people from outside can come and be excited to come and buy in. You know, Dr. Menu just talked about Data Bank, you know. They build something, you know, people from outside, they're like, look, we're excited about what you guys have built. You know, let's pay, you know, you $10 million for a 10% stake. And that's how we create millionaires, you know. So, and all of us here, I believe we can do it. So let's get together. The lessons that we don't know, we can learn from here, you know, or either through business class, management services, the accelerator, whatever it is. Please speak to us. We've already identified ourselves to you. Genevieve, if you can please stand, you know, so that people can notice you. Johnson, speak to any of us. Sam is also around, and then we'll be able to have a conversation about where to take your business next. Right from here, we're going to have dinner, but before we do that, we'll please stand, have a word of prayer, and then we'll take a group photograph. Thank you very much for coming once again. You've been wonderful.
Shall we pray, please?
Yes.
Let us pray. Thank you, Father, for another wonderful evening. Thank you for using Dr. Minu powerfully, encouraging, inspiring, and challenging all of us, Lord. We're very grateful, Lord, that we could think deeply and even begin to try to understand what fuels world-class businesses. What really would it be? Because we can talk about it all we like, but until it comes from deep within us, we would never strive to achieve it. But I beg you, Father, that even as we leave here today, that we'll think again, even a lot more. What fuels world-class businesses? Why do I want to be a world-class business person? What is the whole thing behind it? So that, Father, we can really from our core want to really run world-class businesses. Otherwise, Father, we can talk about it and never achieve it. Thank you, Father, for this opportunity. Thank you for the time we could have. Thank you for the dinner we're going to have right now. We pray that everything will go down well with our system. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen. We'll have the picture here, so if we can just move a few chairs from here.